channels in Masinga constituency and the other identified floods-prone areas. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation. Yes, Mukunji. Hold on, Boyd.
Chair, I just wanted to comment on...
Which chair?
Oh, sorry. Honorable Speaker, thank you. I wanted to actually add my weight to that statement.
But you know, Mukunji, ordinarily,
yes,
we don't allow joyriders on statements.
It's good to issue comments.
Questions.
Yes.
Yes.
But, Honorable Speaker, it's a shame that this country still reels with poverty and lack of water in many areas when God has blessed this country with a lot of water in rivers and in rain, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say that I propose that board to either be disbanded or they do their work in terms of water collection so that we don't continue importing our foods when this country is blessed with water. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Bowen, 2 weeks.
Mr. Speaker, the statement by Honorable Mwale is very important and it requires a very comprehensive answer. Mr. Speaker, as you have heard even from the Honorable Mukunji, I request for 4 weeks, Mr. Speaker, and I will bring a very comprehensive answer.
Bring in 3 weeks.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable John Mwirigi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request for a statement regarding Kemri investigation into eye cancer prevalence in Meru County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Health regarding the status of the report by Kenya Medical Research Institute on the probe into high prevalence of cancer in Meru County. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, is a state corporation established under legal notice number 35 of 2021. The institute is responsible for, amongst other roles, carrying out research on human health in the country. In 2020, KEMRI undertook an investigation in the high prevalence of cancer in Meru County, specifically in Akachu and the Kiegoi locations in Igembe South constituency. The research was prompted by the distressing frequency of cancer-related death and ongoing suffering of Meru County residents battling various forms of diseases, including throat, breast, tongue, eye, mouth, prostate, and prostate cancer. The primary objective of the research, including advancing the understanding of the underlying causes of the prevalence of the cancer in the region and enhancing preventive strategies. However, it is deeply concerning that 4 years since the commencement of the investigation, KEMRI has not released any findings or progress report on the matter. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Health and on the following. A comprehensive report on the findings of the 2020 investigation into the high prevalence of cancer in Meru County and specifically Igembe South constituency, including the identified causes or risk factors contributing to high cancer rate. And number 2, the immediate and the long-term strategies the government plans to implement to curb the rising cases of cancer in Meru County. I thank you.
Chairman Health, Dr. Bukose, 2 weeks.
Honorable Speaker, the member for Igembe South has asked for a comprehensive report. I'm aware of the research that was carried out, which was a data collection from that area of Maua. So, but they have not done, and it was in collaboration between KEMRI and the county government of Meru. We've not been able to fund them adequately, but I'll be able to provide that data which they have collected maybe in a period of 2 weeks.
2 weeks it is.
Yes, but it will not be very comprehensive because of the limited resources and the time for what they did.
Dorothy, what is it? I said no joyriders to statements. What is it you want to say?
Honorable Speaker, I beg you allow me, I hand to what Honorable Mwirigi has said. Indeed, cancer is the greatest killer of our people. And Honorable Speaker, I did raise a statement here one time that the only cancer center that was supposed to help the Meru people was the Dadan Kimathi Cancer Center, which stored many years back. Honorable Speaker, I want the chair to take this with the urgency so that our people can be at least assisted because they are dying in their numbers. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, because
Honorable Speaker, I wanted to inform the Honorable Member that the government is in the process, the national government, in collaboration with the county government in setting up a regional cancer institute in Meru. The Tetan Kimathi will be for Nyeri. So for Meru, we'll do the regional cancer center in Meru. And if the members propose, we could put it even in Maua.
Robert Mbui, no. You will get an answer, yes. Hold on, Robert. Yes, John Paul. Give to John Paul the mic.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I wanted to beg you, according to the chairman has said that the report which he will give in 2 weeks' time will not be that comprehensive. And according to this matter is a very weighty matter, Chairman, Mr. Speaker. It's good for the chairman to tell us what maybe do he require from this house so that he can bring a comprehensive report.
Let's see the report when it comes. We'll judge whether it will be comprehensive or not. Boy, Robert, member
thank you.
for Kadian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a request for a statement regarding payment of last expense, stroke group life claim to the parents of a deceased child in Kadiani constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Article of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding payment of the last expense group life claim to the parents of the late Willie James Muo, a parent of Nduguni Secondary School. Honorable Speaker, it is unfortunate that upon the death of the minor, and that is Willie James Muo, on 14th July 2023, the parents have faced great challenges with regard to processing of claims for the last expense and group life benefits provided under the Edu Afia scheme. The parents followed the required procedures in filling the claim, but were informed by the National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF, that the payment could not be made to them as a unique personal identifier, UPI number, assigned to their deceased child was erroneously allocated to another student in NHIF records. They were then referred to the Ministry of Education to request for rectification of this error and ensure harmonization of the UPI number on their systems. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Education confirmed to the parents that the UPI number indeed belonged to their deceased child and was not erroneously assigned to any other student. Despite this confirmation, the parents have continued to face obstacles in obtaining their rightful compensation, and efforts to harmonize the UPI numbers within the NHIF system have been in vain. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following. 1, what steps have been taken by the Ministry of Education to resolve the UPI number discrepancy in the records of the NHIF? 2, provide the timelines within which these issues shall be resolved and the parents of the late Willie James Muo compensated. And 3, state the measures that are in place to ensure that there is collaboration between NHIF and the Ministry of Education so that we ensure that UPI numbers assigned to students correctly reflect in their systems. And Mr. Speaker, I'll further follow up on the issue of Eduafia going forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman, 2 weeks.
Honorable Speaker, I'll give a response in 2 weeks, and I'll also be able to respond to Eduafia. As you know, the cabinet sat and approved that Eduafia will continue. So we want to assure the parents outside there that they should not worry the children in school, and even it is extended because even those in the lower classes will also be covered. So I think it should not be something to worry about.
Chief Foromondo Mangale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labor regarding the gazettement of Lungalunga Sub-County as a hardship area. Honorable Speaker, hardship allowance was introduced as an incentive to teachers and other public officers working in remote areas to compensate for lack of basic amenities such as hospitals, poor infrastructure, harsh climate conditions, and communication access. Sadly, Lungalunga Sub-County is an area where teachers are forced to travel long distances to access medical services, proper housing, and other basic amenities. These challenges have resulted to many of the teachers working in Lungalunga Sub-County seeking transfers to other areas with better working conditions, leading to insufficient number of teachers in the area. Honorable Speaker, a country-wide data collection exercise aimed at reviewing the hardship area was led by the Interagency Committee with representation from different ministries, state agencies, and commissions. The Interagency Committee, in its report of 17 September 2021, listed Lungalunga among other areas to be gazetted as hardship areas to allow for enhanced allowances of public servants, including teachers. Despite the proposal, Lungalunga Sub-County is yet to be gazetted as a hardship area. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of Departmental Committee on Labor on the following. 1, the measures in place by the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management to ensure the gazettement of Lungalunga Sub-County as a hardship area and provide details on the timelines to be taken for the gazettement of the area. And 2, the reason as to why there has been delay in implementation of the recommendation of the Interagency Committee that Lungalunga Sub-County be gazetted as a hardship area. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chief Foromondo, are you sure you've directed your question to the correct committee?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, because then the matter is before the Ministry of Public Service, which is, in most cases, is handled by the Departmental Committee of Labor.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Chair Labor, is it Karemba? I thought so too. Karemba, Owen, inform them to bring the statement response in 2 weeks.
Okay. Much obliged.
Joseph Lekuton.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2 Section C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding erosion of the Serima-Loyangalani Road. Honorable Speaker, for generations, Lake Turkana has been a vital resource for the economic and cultural well-being of the residents within its environments, including the El Molo community, which is considered as the smallest community in this country, Mr. Speaker, and the most indigenous. Regrettably, The rising water levels in Lake Turkana beyond its banks has eroded critical infrastructure over the years, such as the Serima-Loyangalani Road, rendering it impassable. This situation has worsened the supply of goods and services in the area. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I seek to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. A detailed report on the urgent measures being taken to ensure the Serima-Loyangalani Road is rehabilitated, urgent measures being put in place to ensure all affected residents receive food and basic amenities, and, Mr. Speaker, steps being taken to ensure that the water from Lake Turkana is reusable for agriculture in the surrounding semi-arid areas. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman, Transport and Infrastructure. GK.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request for 3 weeks to respond to that statement.
You can do it in 2 weeks?
Yes, but if you give me 3,
The
I
honorable
appreciate.
member,
I have more, many more
the
statements.
questioner came to the Speaker's chamber very agitated about this issue.
Okay.
Yes. You better consult with him and bring a response in 2 weeks.
I'll do so,
Yes.
Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members, before I call the next, allow me to acknowledge the following institutions in the Speaker's gallery. Kapsabet Girls High School Mgwen in Nandi, Kemeloi Boys High School from Aldai, Nandi. On behalf of the House and myself, we welcome the students, their teachers, and whoever else is accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Thank you. David Kiplagat, DK.
Thank you, Speaker. Request for a statement regarding the expansion of Leseru-Kitale-Kortum Highway. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the expansion of the Leseru-Kitale-Kortum Highway. Honorable Speaker, the Leseru-Kitale-Kortum Highway, a critical link of the Kenya-South Sudan Road Corridor, has been in dire need of rehabilitation and expansion, including providing for climbing lanes. The narrow highway has caused significant challenges to road users and pedestrians. The road is in serious state of dilapidated and requires rehabilitation. These challenges have severely affected residents by disrupting and hindering the flow of goods and services within the area. Additionally, the narrowness of the road has led to accidents resulting in the loss of life. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. Measures being taken to address the safety concerns of the residents regarding the dilapidated and narrow state of the Leseru-Kitale-Kortum Highway. 2, the relief measures the government is putting in place to compensate the families of the residents who have lost their livelihood through accidents as a result of the narrow state of the road. And lastly, the long-term plans being implemented to rehabilitate and expand the said critical road, including the current plans, if any, to secure external funding for development of the road. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
DK, Chair, Infrastructure, Transport.
2 weeks, Honorable Speaker.
2 weeks it is. Thank you. Honorable members, in respect to response to statements, I have been informed by the chair Committee on Administration and Internal Security, that questions by Adan Kainan Eldas, Danson Mwashako Undanyi, Farah Sala Fafi, and Ariko Namoit were discussed between the committee, the ministry, and the questioners, and that the honorable members were satisfied with the outcome. So we'll rest those there. And I invite the Chair Health to respond to a question by Irene Mayaka, nominated MP, on lack of facilities specializing in treatment of endometriosis. Yes, Tongoyo? I thought that's what you told me.
Being, of course, these are documents of the House, I table with the clerks.
Those who raised questions can look at them. Yes, Oundo?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. During the same session, Honorable Speaker, I represented Honorable David Ochieng in respect of a question about abduction, and the question was insufficiently answered, and the Cabinet Secretary promised to furnish additional information, so I thought the Chair will be kind enough to inform the House that the question was not adequately answered, more information is required, so that we can pull the matter to closure. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Tongoyo, when can you bring additional information, either to the House or directly to the member?
I think I could follow the same suit because the only bit that was remaining was the minister to furnish the updated number of deaths, and that is why I have not included with what I had submitted with the clerks. And he had promised to do within 48 hours, so it will be available on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Thank you. Chair Health?
If I could just have 2 minutes, my document is at the reception.
Okay. Go and collect. Let's go to the next response by the Chair Lands to a question by Honorable Monica Marubu, MP, Lamu County. Is Monica Marubu in the House? Pardon? Rueda, you can...
Yeah, I can do it for her.
Okay, Chairman, you ready?
I'm ready, yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 44, the Honorable Monica Marubu, MP, requested the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Lands to provide a response on the implementation of Hindi Magogoni Phase 2 settlement scheme on the following. Number one, explanation as to why it has taken long for the team at the Ministry of Lands to conclude the operationalization of Magogoni settlement scheme, considering that the officers were funded to the tune of 18 million by the county government of Lamu. Number two, the timelines within which the title deeds to legitimate beneficiaries of Hindi settlement scheme will be issued. And number three, a list of the original beneficiaries of the 19,019 acres of land in phase 1 of the Hindi Magogoni settlement scheme. Honorable Speaker, here is my response. Honorable Speaker, the land being referred to measures approximately 16,000 acres. It was reserved on 13th January 1997 for the settlement of squatters at Hindi Magogoni settlement scheme, phase 1 and phase 2. It was to be managed by the settlement fund trustees, SFT, now referred to as Land Settlement Fund Board of Trustees. In 2013, Honorable Speaker, the ministry developed a plan for 4-acre farm plots. The county government of Lamu did not concur with the plan by the ministry and instead proposed a 1/4 to 1 acre mixed-use plots. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, consultations held between the county government and the ministry led to the harmonization of the two plans while taking cognizance of the expanded 500-meter wide LAPSSET corridor and the land uses. The harmonized plan provided for 2-acre plots which were approved by the ministry. Honorable Speaker, in 2019, the ministry and the county government of Lamu began profiling of the squatters. However, the exercise experienced a number of challenges, including, number one, several people having fenced off huge chunks of land. Number two, we also had a problem of massive invasion by both local and non-locals. Challenge number three, Mr. Speaker, some squatters presented multiple identity cards for absentee landlords. Number four, political interference from some leaders by excluding those perceived to be from outside the area. Number six, county government plans to establish an urban centers in order to collect revenue. And then number seven, rampant insecurity in the area. Honorable Speaker, in 2022, following the August general election, a new county administration came into office. Following this new development, the ministry undertook to carry out further consultations with various stakeholders with a view of finding a lasting solution. So far, several stakeholders meetings have been conducted to build consensus on the settlement program. A number of solutions have been agreed upon as follows. Number one, the State Department for Livestock to cede claim of 2,047 hectares, which is approximately 5,060 acres from the scheme. Number two, LAPSSET teams to sensitize beneficiaries and public on the different land uses and zoning along the corridors. Number three, beneficiaries of the land to be identified after the survey.
Order, Honorable Soro is against the standing orders to stand between the member on the floor and the speaker.
Number four, thank you, Honorable Speaker, the Boni community to be considered in the scheme alongside others. Number five, Honorable Speaker, public participation, barasas be conducted and ground committees be elected. And number six, Honorable Speaker, the Lamu County Security Team to secure project area to guard against invasion. Honorable Speaker, the issue at hand is quite emotive and requires extensive consultations between the ministry, the county government of Lamu, Ministry of Interior and National Administration, political leaders and the local leaders to build consensus on the way forward. The ministry will spearhead these consultations in the current financial year, 2024-2025. Once consensus is built, the ministry will commence the process of surveying, demarcation, and titling. Therefore, it's not possible to give realistic timelines for issuance of the titles in the scheme. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Rueda.
Bwana Spika, haya yanaongelewa hapa si ukweli. Dadangu Muthoni ameweka, lakini amekuja hapa bunge kwa sababu hatuhusishwi, hakuna mtu leaders ameitwa na hakuna mtu amepinga. Asiseme ati political leaders, sote mimi sijawahi itwa, Mheshimiwa Mudhama hajawahi itwa, Mheshimiwa Muthoni hajawahi itwa, hiyo leaders wengine ni kina nani? Na Lamu kuna constituency 2 na women rep 1. Hatujawahi itwa, hiyo ni uongo. Ya pili, kuna kigezo hapo.
Neno uongo halikubaliki kutumiwa katika bunge.
Ni sasa niseme nini Speaker? Manake si ukweli.
Sema ukosefu wa ukweli.
Haya. Well guided, Bwana Speaker. Na kitu kingine Bwana Speaker kinatumika kwa Lamu. Kitu chochote ukiuliza, kama pengine kuna uzembe pahali, wanasema insecurity. Hakuna utovu wa usalama Lamu. Tunaishi, tunaenda pale tunataka. Hapo Hindi watu wako wengi, miradi mingi na Lapset wako. Sasa utovu wa usalama umetokea wapi? Ni wamekosa kusema ukweli, ndio wanatumia kigezo cha utovu wa usalama. Na hii ardhi sijui ni hii ya Swahili scheme, manake hiyo Swahili scheme hapo imeleta utata. Kila governor akiingia analeta sheria zake na mambo hayaendi, yanasonga hapo hapo. Lakini sio kwamba ni member of parliament au political leaders. Kwa hivyo mimi nilikuwa ningeomba huyo waziri aje au nilitengeze swali vingine muniambie vipi nitafanya ili waziri aje ajibu sahihi. Manake sahihi tu ni kama kugombeza chair bure na yeye hajui hayo mambo yameenda vipi huko. Yeye amepewa lazima asome hivyo. Asante.
Mwenyekiti.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think that's a confirmation that there is a problem in Lamu. What I could want to promise, Honorable Speaker, is to give an undertaking that will make arrangements.
Just inform the authorities. And Honorable Rueda is very fair. She's not saying you are not doing the right thing.
So that's
she's
why.
Not saying you are doing the wrong thing, but she's saying involve leaders.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Which is a very fair request.
I just want to give an undertaking as the chair of the committee that will make arrangements so that we can have the minister or the PS together with the leadership from Lamu so that we can have a round-table discussion on the same and find a lasting solution, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next, Kazim Tandaza. Oh, sorry. We go back to Honorable Bukose, Chairman. Is Mayaka in the house?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, Honorable Irene Mayaka requested for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health regarding the regulations and lack of facilities specialized in the treatment of endometriosis. Honorable Speaker, I want to respond as follows. That the state, in number 1A, state the number of facilities within the country that are specialized in endometriosis treatment, their location, and whether such facilities carry out possible awareness programs on endometriosis. Response. Endometriosis is a disease in which tissue similar to the lining of uterus grows outside the uterus. It is associated with chronic pelvic pain, especially during periods, that is menses. And this pain could also occur during or after sex, heavy menstrual bleeding, and difficulties in conceiving. In Kenya, the prevalence of endometriosis is 4.6%. Diagnosis and treatment of endometriosis is mainly undertaken by gynecologists through laparoscopic visualization and histological confirmation, which are considered the gold standard for diagnostic of endometriosis. The treatment can either be drugs or, in severe complicated cases, laparoscopic surgery. Currently, there are 2 level 6 health facilities, Kenyatta National Hospital and Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, that can be able to treat endometriosis. In terms of awareness of endometriosis, this is a continuous process through periodic continuous medical education forums and health education session talks at health facilities. The ministry plans to do media campaigns nationally and through local FM radios on endometriosis to give correct information about the disease and eliminate stigma around similar conditions of painful menses and demystify the myths. Community health promoters have also been trained to refer women with similar symptoms to higher levels to facilitate early diagnosis and treatment. B, on outline the measures put in place by the Ministry of Health to facilitate public hospitals with specialized training on the treatment of endometriosis to provide better health care to women in the country. The response is as follows. Endometriosis is one of the disease conditions covered in the pre-service training curriculum for nurses, clinical officers, and doctors. Government has invested in the training of gynecologists. Currently in Kenya, we have about 700 gynecologists working in different parts of the country, both in public and private. And we have 5 trained laparoscopic gynecology surgeons, mainly based at national referral hospitals. Equally, the government has invested on the availability of laparoscopic equipment for use by the experts. What are the specific actions being taken by Ministry of Health to tackle the challenges posed by endometriosis and creating public awareness on treatment? The response is as follows: that the ministry plans to establish endometriosis specialized centers of excellence to offer care, train more laparoscopic gynecology surgeons, ensure availability of endometriosis medicines through the Social Health Insurance Fund, avail more laparoscopic equipment, and continuous sensitization of the general public on endometriosis through community health promoters and media. This statement was signed by the Cabinet Secretary for Health. Thank you.
Irene Mayaka, you're satisfied with the answer?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am not satisfied with the answer, with the response. But before I give my remarks to that, if you will kindly allow me, Honorable Speaker, I would like to give my condolences because on behalf of the African Liberal Network, which is a conglomeration of parties that the ODM party belongs to, and as the Vice President of East Africa, we lost a lady called the Honorable Jolie Mugisha from Uganda, who is the Deputy President of the National Unity Platform Party in Uganda, who is being buried today. And I'd just like to pay my tribute to her because she is one of those ladies who has really supported the growth of women leadership in Uganda and in East Africa. And on my own behalf and on behalf of the ODM party, I'd just like to give my
What has that got to do with the question?
I will.
What has that got to do with the question?
She worked on the endometriosis.
You must be relevant to what is going on in the House.
Honorable Speaker, before I started, I did request because she works on endometriosis a lot, and so this is very relevant to us because
ask a clarification. If you are satisfied, you give way.
Honorable Speaker, I'm not satisfied with the response. I find it underwhelming for 3 reasons. Number one, the fact that in the statement, the chair tells us that we only have 5 surgeons who actually work on the laparoscopic gynecological surgeons, and yet this is one procedure that is extremely expensive. It costs between 350,000 to 1 million shillings. And to think of the number of women, especially the young women, who suffer from this, I think the Ministry of Health can do much more towards this particular disease. And then secondly, part of the response tells us that the ministry is working on training and is working on sensitizing, but there's no specific dates towards that. Working could be in 2 years from now or 3 years from now. When exactly do they want to begin the sensitization process? Because one of the things that the young women really suffer from is from the stigmatization that they get from this particular disease. So we need to have very specific information in terms of when is this sensitization beginning. And then finally also, the fact that we only have 2 public facilities that offer this disease in the whole country. And yet we have so many other private facilities that offer it at a very expensive rate. And as I said earlier, for the young girls who are between the age of 15 and 24 who suffer the most from this, I think we need to do a bit more than what we are being told by the ministry. I therefore think that this is not enough for us. Thank you.
Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuzungumzia mambo ya endometriosis. Mheshimiwa Spika, nimemsikiza Mheshimiwa akitoa majibu yake, na mimi napenda kuambia mwache Google, kwa sababu huku kuna mtoto tulimpoteza wa kike anaitwa Njoki. Alienda nje kutafuta matibabu kwa sababu Kenya tulikuwa hatuna sehemu ama madaktari ambao wanaweza kumtibu. Kwa hiyo hili ni jambo la dharura ambalo linatesa watoto wetu. Hata mimi wakati wangu nikiwa msichana bado mdogo ilikuwa imenisumbua sana. Na mimi nataka kusema Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati wengine tunadharau hawa kina mama zetu wa kitamaduni wanauza dawa za kienyeji. Kuna mama ambaye alinitibu wa kienyeji kwa sababu hospitali ilikuwa hakuna matibabu kabisa. Kwa hiyo mimi naomba wale ambao wanahusika na wizara ya health, naomba sana muipigilie upatu, sio mambo ya planning, ni action. Wakati huu tunataka action, watoto wetu wanakufa, sisi kina mama tunasikia vibaya sana. Najua wanaume hamwendi katika hedhi, ni wanawake ndio tunaoenda katika hedhi, na tuna insist leo katika bunge hili muweze kulipigia upatu, tusiweze kupoteza watoto kama vile tulimpoteza Njoki. Mwenyezi Mungu amleze na wema peponi, na yule mama ambaye alipigania mambo haya endometriosis, Mama Joli Mgisha pia, Mwenyezi Mungu amrehemu anapolala kule Uganda leo. Asante sana.
Yes, Kemei. Give Beatrice Kemei the mic. There you are.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to add my voice to this issue that is concerning women, endometriosis. This disease is actually affecting our children, the young women, and I'm trying to look at or to actually listen to what the chairman said, that the ministry is planning. I don't really understand what he means. Because when you say the ministry is planning, it has no timelines. We don't know it is planning when and how. So, Chairman, I think you need to go beyond this. Because now, when you talk of ministry plans to do media campaigns, for how long? It has been there. They already know we have this problem. Many girls don't go to school during these times. Many girls are affected seriously. It is affecting their lifestyle. And I think, Chairman, you should go beyond this. Not just the ministry is planning to do campaign, the ministry is planning to do this. I think, and Honorable Speaker, we need to get serious information from the ministries concerned, and especially this one. We cannot be given things that are not adding up. Thank you, Honorable Chair. And thank you, Speaker. Sorry.
Chairman Bukose, can you tell the House what you mean by planning? That's what you're being asked.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Mayaka has indicated that the number of gynecologists, in my statement, since we attained independence, we only have 700 gynecologists in the whole republic. Both in public, no, me I'm a surgeon. Surgeons are even fewer. We have 700 gynecologists, both in private and in public. Out of the 700, 5 have trained in laparoscopic gynecology. I think that is, and those are the ones now, because in laparoscopic, this is where you are able to do minimal incisions, because you want to save the beauty of the women and all that. You don't want to do big scars. So you make small incision, put in through there, and you are able to remove those extra endometrial.
Yes, a point of order, Deputy Speaker.
Is that he's saying that there are few people who can do laparoscopic surgeries, gynecology. Yes, I know this for a fact. It's not because of aesthetic reasons. It's because when you do laparoscopic surgery, the recovery time is shorter, and chances of you ending up in ICU or having to deal with a complete open surgery where they make an incision through your entire body, it causes more complications. So correct it, because whenever you talk about women issues, you trivialize it. That because our women want to look beautiful. He's trivializing something that is life-threatening. So please apologize to the women of Kenya now.
Chairman.
I think we are speaking the same thing with the Honorable Deputy Speaker. There is cosmetic role for surgery. When you do, just listen to me, I'm a surgeon.
Yes,
No. You can't teach me surgery.
Yes, Zamzam.
There is cosmetic reasons for any operation.
Chairman, hold on. Beauty. Yes, Zamzam.
Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka kumwambia mheshimiwa, hii damu ikitoka kwenye uzazi huwa inatambaa inaenda paka kwenye mapafu. Sio hiyo ya beauty ambayo unazungumza ati ya wanawake ya kufanya urembo. Haya ni mambo ambayo ni serious. Uliza mke wako atakwambia hiyo ni kitu gani. Ino damu utoka ikaingia mpaka kwenye mbavu ndo ambayo ilimuua yule msichana. Na inaleta maradhi mengine huko. Kwa hiyo sio mambo sisi tukitaka cosmetic hata mimi naenda nipunguze huu mwili niwe safi. Lakini hii ni ugonjwa ambao tunahitaji madaktari serious ndani ya hili taifa waweze kumaliza. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Unfortunately, you know, I wouldn't want to go there, but just for record purposes, everything has, you're not listening to, it's not only one reason. One is cosmetic. No woman would want a big scar in her abdomen. Yeah, they wouldn't want a big scar. Two, they wouldn't want complications. I'll not say that. Nobody would want to stay in hospital for that length of time. They would want to stay in hospital for a short period of time. So when you make a small scar...
Chairman, hold on.
Right, Honorable Speaker, is it in order for the Honorable Chairman to say African women don't like scars on their body, while we know very many times, culturally, scars have been portrayed as marks of beauty around waists, faces, and breasts?
Yes, Millie. Millie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is the Honorable Chair in order to purport to speak with authority over things he knows nothing about. He may be a surgeon, but he does not go through what we go through. So you cannot be an authority on our bodies. For those of us who may have gone through problems like that, cosmetic issues are the last of our interest. All women want at that point, yeah, this one is theoretical. At that point, all we want, Mr. Speaker, is to be well. We are not interested in cosmetics. So don't start with cosmetic. Hapo utakuwa, sorry, Speaker.
Hold, because, yes, Owen Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, you know, this is very interesting. But I also want to say that Honorable Millie Odhiambo and Honorable Zamzam can speak from that perspective which they would like to speak to. But the Honorable Pokose is a renowned surgeon, a doctor, a person who understands the woman's body from a scientific position more than the women who are here. He is more versed to explain about a woman's body better than the women in this house. And therefore, allow the Honorable Pokose to give you what needs to be done. Honorable Speaker, I think we need to balance between politics, between populism, and the real issues that the Honorable Pokose is talking about. Honorable Speaker, protect Honorable Pokose, protect him. I beg you, Honorable Speaker, protect him.
Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. When I speak with authority. A member of my own family had that challenge. I spent hours and hours with doctors. Eventually, I got an 80-year-old doctor who could do laparoscopic surgery. And they explained to us the reason why we needed to do it. And Honorable Pukose, you may be, let me tell you, the patient is the one who knows best. It is not the doctor. Medicine is proximate science. You decide my diagnosis according to what I tell you, not because of what you feel. So it is me who knows how my body feels. It is proximate science. So don't come and lecture us here that the doctor knows. The doctor has to rely. If I tell the doctor my head aches, even though it was my feet, he'll treat my head. So believe me, you're not an authority. It is the women who are authority. And let me quote, Oprah Winfrey once said, keep off my uterus.
Order, Millie, this is not a public rally. Yes, let's now, Zamzam, let's hear Dr. Bukose. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Ngoja Bukose. Zamzam.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, huyu ni surgeon. Aweza kuwa si gynecologist. Na yeye hana uterus. Yeye haendi kwa hedhi. mke wake ndio enda kwa hedhi, na kuna uwezekano mkubwa kuwa kwa familia yake hajapata matatizo kama haya. Hii kitu daktari ni serious. Watoto kuanzia miaka 13 wanaumwa tumbo. Ilikuwa mimi nikiumwa natambaa na wewe unaniambia yule mtoto maskini atapata wapi pesa za cosmetic? Tafuteni madaktari wasaidie wa Kenya hapa. Mambo ya kuchangia watu kwenda nje kutafuta matibabu ni makosa. Na tuna waziri ambaye ameingia, waziri wa kike, waziri ngangari. Enda mkae na yeye chini, awape mambo ya uhakika, mlete bungeni, si mambo ya Google. Hapa ni masuala ya maisha ya wanadamu. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Yes, Millie, hold Bukose.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are not finishing, Honorable Pukose. Mr. Speaker, we just want him to be better educated. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I am bringing what is called the Family Reproductive Health Care Bill, based on my own personal experience on reproductive issues. Mr. Speaker, when I was in the office of the Attorney General, I was admitted, because I used to be admitted every month when I was on my menses. And every month I was told I am aborting, Mr. Speaker. And most women go through that. And when you have a problem like this, at one point, I went to a hospital, one of the renowned hospitals, and they gave me a finding by an expert doctor, and I was walking around in the office giving, because I was a very innocent, naive girl. Then somebody called me and told me, Millie, do you know what you are telling people? That you are having a sexually transmitted infection. I'm not even sexually active, but I'm walking around with a sexually transmitted infection. Mr. Speaker, even women who have not gone through this, even if they are surgeons, are not authorities. I saw a woman gynecologist when I was fainting in the office and I wanted a day off. And she told me, just for periods, you do not know what other women go through when they have periods. So let women who have experience, we are telling you, you may be an expert, but it's theoretical. I am the expert because I've gone through it. So respect my opinion, I am the expert on practicals.
Now give Dr. Bukose an opportunity to answer.
Yes. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, we've diverted from laparoscopic gynecology. That is the basis. We were discussing laparoscopic gynecology, not the issue about whether you have endometriosis or do not have endometriosis. I think that's the point. And when we discuss about the gynecology, laparoscopic, when we discuss about laparoscopic gynecology, no, I can't. Yeah. You know, you are a lawyer and I'm a doctor. I'll not be able to dispute your law matters, but allow me to make my statement as a doctor. We were discussing about laparoscopic surgery, and what we said is we have only 5 gynecologists trained in laparoscopic surgery. We do not have enough of them. I did not say, and then the other issue was plan, what the ministry is planning to do about educating the public about it. I'm not the ministry, yeah? And the ministry is saying we are planning to, because endometriosis.
You are the chair of the committee and you are speaking here on authority of the ministry.
I withdraw that. On the issue about the plan for the ministry, you know, endometriosis issues started arising when we lost, there was a lady from the media whom we lost, and she comes from my county, Kitale. Yeah? So it started, you know, it started being highlighted about, because many of our ladies have been suffering from endometriosis, some of them quietly, some of them unknowingly. And therefore, this is something that has now been sensitized. And the ministry feels that we must be able to separate the myths from the truth, the facts, and be able to refer people to the right facilities where they can receive now treatment. And in the statement which I read, the only facilities, government facilities, where we have equipment, that is, we have laparoscopic equipment, is the Moi Teaching Referral Hospital and Kenyatta National Hospital. And that is where, those are the two facilities. And I think what the House needs to be debating is, can we be able to equip the other facilities, maybe in each of the counties, and train more of the 700 gynecologists we have, so that they can be able to offer facilities in the other hospitals. And I think that is the onus on this House to make that decision. Give them budget, give us budget, and we'll be able to buy them equipment, laparoscopic equipment, and even have one gynecologist or two per every county who are trained in laparoscopic surgery.
Thank you.
I think let's stick to laparoscopic surgery, not the sideshows.
Honorable Bukose. Order, Honorable Bukose, I heard you chide at my deputy as a lawyer. Are you aware that when you, as a surgeon, misconduct yourself in the course of your duty, you run to a lawyer to defend you?
Honorable Speaker, I'm aware of that.
Yes.
That I can also seek lawyer services, just the same way when a lawyer becomes sick, he has to come to the hospital for treatment.
Okay. It is a symbiotic relationship. Transport and infrastructure. GK, do you have a response to Honorable Kazim Tandaza? Is Tandaza in the House?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. He is in the House.
I'm just next to him.
Okay. You have the response?
Yes, I do have.
Oh, you have quietly given to him?
No, we were just consulting.
Go ahead, go ahead.
He's my friend. Honorable Speaker, I rise to give a statement which was requested for by Honorable Tandaza, Member of Parliament for Matuga, on 8th August 2024, requesting to get more information about compensation of residents of Dongo Kundu bypass, or those who are affected by that project. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Tandaza requested for the following. A comprehensive report on the number of persons whose land was acquired for construction of the bypass, the number already compensated and the status of the compensation of the remaining beneficiaries. And B, reasons for the delay and the timelines for remittance of the remaining beneficiaries, noting that the road is already in use. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a written response from the Ministry of Roads and Transport on 8th September 2024, which I now wish to make. One, regarding the number of persons whose land was acquired for construction of the bypass, the number already compensated and the status of compensation of the remaining beneficiaries, the ministry submitted that the project is located in 3 counties, that is Kilifi, Mombasa, and Kwale. And the implementation is in phases or packages as follows. Package 1, Miritini Junction, Mwache Junction in Kipevu section. That's about 10.3 kilometers. And B, package 2, Mwache Junction, Sunza, and Teza section, which is about 8.9 kilometers. And C, package 3, which is Muteza Kibudani section, which is about 6.8 kilometers. 2, in regards to the status of land compensation, the NLC submitted the compensation schedule for the project affected persons, that's PAPs, to the Kenya National Highway Authority, KENHA, as follows. A, MPAD package 1 amounting to about 2.5 billion. B, MPAD package 2 amounting to about 271 million. C, MPAD package 3 amounting to Kenya shillings 5.55, that is 7 million. And 3, regarding the status of disbursement of disbursements to date, the following has accrued. The following has occurred, sorry, Honorable Speaker. A, the amount disbursed to NLC for MPAD Package 1 is Kenya shillings 2.0 or about 2.1 billion. And the amount yet to be disbursed is about Kenya shillings 440 million or 441 million. B, the amount disbursed to NLC for MPAD Package 2 is Kenya shillings 215 million. And the amount yet to be disbursed for that package is about 56 million. C, the amount disbursed to NLC for MPAD Package 3 is Kenya shillings 473.4 million. And the amount yet to be disbursed for that package is about Kenya shillings 39.6 million. Honorable Speaker, regarding the reasons for the delay and the timelines for remittance of the remaining beneficiaries, noting that the road is already in use, is attributed to that budgetary constraints being faced by KENHA. To mitigate this problem, KENHA has included the remaining compensation amounts in the financial year 24-25 Supplementary 2 budget proposal. Number 5, additionally, family dispute succession from deceased PAPs to new beneficiaries, lack of documentation and subdivision of parcels of land after gazettement are some of the other reasons for delays in compensation of the remaining PAPs. 6, and last, the ministry undertakes to ensure that project-affected persons are compensated upon approval of the budget and subsequent release of funds from Exchequer. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
Thank you, GK. Tandaza, satisfactory?
Not at all, Chairman. Not at all, Honorable Speaker. This is a matter that has been here severally since 2022. We are dealing with persons affected, awarded letters in 2013. The answer has always been the same generally, and here we are even. I attached a list of specific persons. Maybe I take time to read because they totally complied with the kind of disputes that he's talking about, the chairman referred to, subdivisions that is referred to, and these are people who are 100% compliant. 9 persons affected by this compensation issue. 1, Abdallah Mwakunena. 2, Salim Hamisi Bongo. 3, Halima Omar Higa. 5, Saidi Nasoro Mwakubwabwa. 6, Fatuma Ali Mwakunena. 8, Masudi Muhammad Mwatsonowe. And 9, Salim Kazungu Ndundi. The money that they are supposed to be paid, Honorable Speaker, is not the money that the chairman is referring to. This is money already with the NLC, and probably the chairman transport is not aware that even after they disburse money to NLC, NLC normally does not pay the persons affected in time for reasons better known to themselves. So, Honorable Speaker, my request on this matter is not about the supplementary tool that the chairman is referring to. The money is already there. They have disbursed the money, but NLC is not willing, for some reason which known to themselves, to compensate these people. And I would then request your indulgence to see how the Committee on Transport and the Committee on Lands can actually compel NLC to pay these particular people who are 100% compliant, Honorable Speaker. So I'm not satisfied at all with the answer that he has given because it's not the reality on the ground.
GK.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you, Honorable
Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Mimi nimemsikiza chairman na nataka nikujulishe kuwa vile Mheshimiwa Tandaza anavyosema, watu wetu hata ile fidia ambao wamepewa wengine bado hawajapata na wengine wamepata ndivyo sivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na la kusikitisha hata zaidi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ile 3000 acres tayari wamesha gawa watu ambao sisi hata wabunge wa Mombasa tukiandika
is a need to install a 20-meter span bridge to offer a long-term solution to this matter. 2, the bridge is estimated to cost Kenya shillings 94 million and is beyond the scope of the existing contract or any possible variation to the same. 3, regarding the measures put in place to have temporary crossing solutions, particularly to facilitate students' access to schools in the area, the ministry submitted that they are aware that the closure and cordoning off of the affected road section, which was done in the interest of public safety, has inconvenienced residents and is sympathetic to their plight. 4, it is, however, noteworthy that there is no corridor available for a diversion in the immediate location, and therefore advises residents to use alternative routes, namely the Northern Bypass and the Nairobi-Thika Superhighway, as efforts are made to source funds for the construction of a bridge, as Aria mentioned. Honorable Speaker, regarding the reasons for the inordinate delay in the rebuilding of the bridge and the steps being taken to expedite the construction to avert further sufferings, the ministry submitted that the delay in the construction of the bridge has been occasioned by the unavailability of funds for the same. 6, the ministry wishes to request Parliament to consider providing budgetary allocation for this bridge alongside other crucial areas similarly affected by the flooding that impacted most parts of the country earlier this year. The ministry undertakes to construct the bridge as soon as funds are made available. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Kingara. Are you satisfied?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for according me this opportunity to respond and as per the statement from the chairperson for roads. Mr. Speaker, I'm comfortable with the first paragraph whereby they went in at a good speed and came up with an estimate. But Mr. Speaker, may I open it this way? They have given us an alternative route to use as they work on the bridge. But unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, where they are sending us is Northern Bypass and then the Thika Superhighway, which are so clogged in the morning and in the evening. And note, Mr. Speaker, my concern was because most schools are on the other side of the road or of the bridge. So it will be very difficult for pupils and students to accommodate their day-to-day activities, noting that the Thika Superhighway in the morning and the Northern Bypass, including the Eastern Bypass, are clogged for more than 3 hours. So, Mr. Speaker, my request is if they can use the emergency fund, because noting also, Mr. Speaker, the said bridge is the only conduit for 3 wards. And this is Biashara Ward, Gatongora Ward, and Getodua Ward. So you can see, Mr. Speaker, the 3 wards are already locked. And I wish that maybe they use emergency fund if they were to facilitate us rather than frustrating us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, GK.
Honorable Speaker, I sympathize with the situation that the people of Roido constituency in that part of Honorable Kingara's constituency are facing. And we have asked the ministry to prioritize that project and avail any funds that are within their reach to be able to address that challenge. Honorable Kingara's constituency is one of the most populous constituencies in the country, if not the most populous, and we will push the ministry officials to ensure that that bridge is reconstructed. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Majority Leader, your Thursday statement. Osoro, are you issuing on behalf of the leader?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
I'm holding brief for the Majority Leader for the usual Thursday statement. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 42-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 24th September 2024, to prioritize business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the business for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to consider the following bills, if not concluded today. Committee of the whole House is on consideration of Safety and Feed Safety Control Coordination Bill 2023, consideration of Senate amendment to the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill of 2023. The Honorable Speaker will be having the second reading of the following bills, if they will not be concluded today: the Technopolis Bill of 2024, the Kenya National Library Service Bill 2023, and the Equalization Fund Administration Bill, which is Senate Bill number 14 of 2023. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, debate will also be undertaken on the following motions, should they not be concluded today. 1, consideration of the Senate amendment to the Food and Safety and Feed Safety Control Coordination Bill of 2023, consideration of Senate amendments to the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill of 2023, 3, first report on the implementation status of the House resolutions on the committee reports and public petitions, report on the alleged unfair trade practices by foreign investors in Kenya, second report on employment diversity, audit in public institutions, report of the extraordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament, that is PAP, consideration of reports on financial statements of state corporations of the Nyanza region, Honorable Speaker, and finally, the consideration of session of paper number 5 of 2023 on the national policy on labor migration. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of the Standing Order number 42A5 and 6, I wish to convey that the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry is scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 2nd October 2024, to respond to the following questions. 1, question number 3 or 4 of 2023, by the member for Alego Usonga, the Honorable Samuel Atandi, regarding issuance of alliances for construction of residential property on plot number LR number 33734, stroke 338 along Othaya Road, Kileleshwa, by the National Environment and Management Authority without public participation. Question number 02924, by the member for Maragua, the Honorable Wamaua, regarding report on the Koech, commonly known as Mandazi, regarding the presence of Lalela Company Limited and Naraitoi Company Limited that are engaging in large-scale irrigation-based farming along Amalo River and cloud seeding activities. Honorable Speaker, the Minister will also be answering question number 106 to 2024 by the member for Westlands, the Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, regarding the measures put in place to reclaim, safeguard, and sustain all riparian areas and vulnerable ecosystems within the country. Further, the Cabinet Secretary will also be responding to question number 107 of 2024 by the member for Nakuru County, the Honorable Liza Chelule, regarding the preservation of wetlands and catchment areas within the country and the government's plan in conjunction with Community Forest Association nationwide to plant 15 billion trees within the next decade. Question number 129 of 2024 by the member for Ruaraka, the Honorable T.J. Kajuang, regarding the Nairobi River pollution and the reasons for continued contamination despite interventions made over the years by various institutions. Honorable Speaker, the Minister will also be answering question number 130 of 2024 by the member for Tigania West, the Honorable Dr. John Mtunga, regarding key actors and benefits gained through climate financing to fight issues arising from climate change. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee will be reconvening on Tuesday, 1st October 2024 to schedule business for the rest of that week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chief Whip of the Majority Party. Honorable members, before we call the next order, we acknowledge in the public gallery Nkubu Winners Academy from Imendi South, Meru. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students and their teachers to the House of Parliament. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, ratification of the protocol to the constitutive acts of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament. Resumption of debate.
I understand this debate has some time to go. Who was on the floor? Okay, there is nobody was on the floor at the rise of the House. I have on the screen Rindikiri Mugambi. Are you for this? No. Dido Raso, are you for this?
Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I wish to contribute to this particular motion and why it is necessary for Kenya to sign this very important protocol that binds all African states and Kenya and others in particular. Honorable Speaker, the first OAU Charter was signed on 25th May 1963 in the city of Addis Ababa in the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. That was the formative charter that brought the African countries together, and it was also the stage and platform on and from where they started fighting for both emancipation and independence of the African countries, many of whom at that time were under colonialism. Honorable Speaker, on the 11th of July 2000, in Lome, Togo, is when the African Constitutive Act, which I believe is the current African Union Charter or the African Union Constitution, was signed by 53 African countries. This had been preceded by the fourth extraordinary session of the Africa Union that took place on 9th of September 1999 in the city of Sirte in Libya. Honorable Speaker, the reason why I'm going through those dates is to lay the ground for why this Constitutive Act is a very important document or charter for we the legislators or the leaders of this country to understand, and also for it to form part of the Kenyan legal instrument as an African country. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the African Union, the Organization of African Union Charter at the beginning, it was largely addressing the issues of cooperation between Africans, about fighting for decolonization of territories that still were under the colonial rule, and also emancipation of the Africans wherever they were. But if you look at what is rights and the rule of law, governance, a strong Africa that looks at partnership between its people, its neighbors, and also the rights of groups that are marginalized within the countries, women and youth. The role of civil society as among the objectives that are being pronounced in the African Union Constitutive Act. Honorable Speaker, in this particular instrument that I said is like the African Union Constitution, it talks more about peace and security. Africa has been bedeviled by the scourge of conflict for a very long time. Today, the African Union has a Peace and Security Commission that sits exactly like what happens in the Security Council to address issues of conflict on this continent. When you look at the old charter of OAU, it says non-interference in the internal affairs of African states. So that means that whatever happens within an African state, the OAU was mute. But what this Constitutive Act actually does or says is that the Africa Union Commission, we are bidding for the chairmanship of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, is more stronger today than what it was under OAU. Today, the Commission has so many directorates under it: economic, social, educational, human rights division, that is able to address the issues of Africa. Madam Speaker, the other important things that you find in this Constitutive Act is the issue that has to do with democracy, good governance, and public participation. Madam Speaker, before now, the African Union was not able to clearly talk about election in a member state. Kenya holds its election, it goes whatever direction, maybe there is post-election violence. Africa Union was quiet about it. But under the Constitutive Act, they are concerned that the issues that happen in Kenya, if they are not good, then they have a ripple effect over the neighboring countries. So that is why Africa Union takes cognizance of it. Madam Speaker, among other important things that this Constitutive Act addresses is the issue of inter-African infrastructure. Vision Agenda 2063, African Free Trade Agreement. With this, you can see that there's more partnership, there's more engagement within the Africa Union. Madam Speaker, through the Constitutive Act, the structure or organization of the African Union is more pronounced. Whereas it used to just have a very rudimentary structure of about 4 or 5. With this, you have the executive, the Pan-African Parliament, the Court of Justice, specialized technical committees, the permanent representative committees, Economic, Social, and Cultural Council. So all this is encompassing that they want to address the issue of the African continent and its people holistically. So for those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I support and ask my colleagues to support so that this particular instrument becomes an instrument within the laws of the land. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Buri, Honorable Mugambi. I can see your name is at the top. Oh, you don't want to speak to this?
On the second.
Okay. The Honorable Moses Kirima, Member for Central Elementi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me this opportunity, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on the said motion of the protocol. Madam Speaker, it's necessary for Kenya to be part of the world countries when it comes to the rules which govern the protocols of various countries. The matter before the National Assembly today was ventilated very well by the committee concerned. It passed through all the processes which were required, and it was seen after searching and looking at all various articles in the same that in no way is it going to affect the country in form of taxpayers' money, in form of interfering with current internal rules of the country, and it's going at the end of the day to be adopted and become part of the municipal law which govern this country and the countries involved in signing of the same protocol. As for that, it's a necessity, taking into account that the world per se is becoming a village. It's like a village these days. It's a global village, whereby each country requires each other when it comes to economic growth, export of labor, import of goods, and all other things which pertains to the same protocol. We cannot live alone. The country requires to be part and a parcel of those countries which share the same ideas and ideals and also same sentiments. And as for that, the protocol is necessary for this country, for it to prosper better and a little bit further than where we are, and also to be appreciated in those countries which are part of this protocol. And as for that, I therefore support the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, the Honorable Member for Wundanyi, Honorable Mashoka. Yeah. Okay, those who want to contribute to this debate, kindly put the intervention button. The Honorable Member for Tharaka Nithi, Honorable Murugara.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me also to support this motion so that we are able to ratify the protocol to the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament. It is important for the House to keep on noting every time we have such protocols that it's a requirement of our Constitution that once our country, Kenya, becomes a signatory to a protocol, international protocol, then that protocol ought to be brought to the House so that it is ratified to become binding on the country. After ratification, the protocol becomes part and parcel of our domestic laws. Therefore, we are bound. This is also pursuant to the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, which is Chapter 4D of the laws of the country. So upon approval or ratification of this protocol, Kenya is going to be part and parcel of the Act of the African Union, which is going to constitute the Pan-African Parliament. It's also important to observe that we are part and parcel of the Pan-African Parliament, and we have that chapter in this House which deals with the Pan-African affairs. It's also important to note that we have been a member of the African Union since inception of the country in 1963 when we became independent. And we have steadfastly stood with the African Union. In fact, in the early 80s, the late President Moi was the chairperson or the chairman of the African Union, as he used to be called. And we were very proud of that event during that epoch. Today, as we speak, we are presenting a formidable candidate for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission. And that is no other than the indefatigable Right Honorable former Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga. And we wish him very well. He has the full backing of the country. I think we have gone out of our way to ensure that all the friendly countries that support Kenya actually support his candidature. And we are just waiting to see how the voting would go, but we are almost certain that he's going to be elected as the chairperson. So this is very important because we are going to strengthen the Pan-African Parliament through this act, which does constitute it. We will also be able to be part and parcel of Pan-Africanism in Africa. It goes without gainsaying that our founding fathers of the African continent those days played a pivotal role in ensuring that Pan-Africanism spread. All the time we mention this, the late Kwame Nkrumah comes into play, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, we had Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya, we had Sedasego in Senegal, and everywhere else. These were Pan-Africanists who stood for the African unity. And today, we should actually be edging towards the union of the African continent so that we stop seeing ourselves just not as regional blocks, the East African Community, the South African Development Commission, the North African Bloc, and whichever. We see ourselves as one continent transiting to an African state, where possibly we are going to have the African currency amongst many other trading issues that we should bring together and speak in one voice. So this is a very important act to be executed by the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament, and as Kenyans, we should actually embrace this 100%. So as we wish the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga the very best for the chairmanship of the African Union, we confirm today we do support this ratification, which also goes towards showing that we are together with the African Union in issues relating to Pan-Africanism. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Suba North, Honorable Millie Odhiambo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Madam Speaker, I want to say from the onset that I support this motion. And Madam Speaker, I served in the Pan-African Parliament in the 12th Parliament. And Madam Speaker, one of the reasons that I support this protocol is that it addresses some of the reasons for which I was not very keen to go back to Pan-African Parliament. But with this protocol, I'm really happy that they have actually addressed some of those issues. The Pan-African Parliament was a parliament with a lot of potential. It still has, but because it didn't have any teeth, it didn't have legislative capacity, then it meant that we were basically meeting almost like a conference where we make resolutions and nothing comes out of it. But now that it is being given a legislative mandate, it will give it teeth. Madam Speaker, under Article 3, it provides for the objectives of the Pan-African Parliament, which includes giving a voice to the African peoples and the diaspora, It also seeks to promote the principles of human and people's rights and democracy in Africa. It encourages good governance, respect for the rule of law, transparency and accountability in member states. It promotes peace, security, and stability in Africa. It seeks to strengthen continental solidarity, cooperation, and development and build a sense of common destiny. Madam Speaker, the only issue that I'm noticing, even though it talks about ensuring that the languages that shall be spoken are the languages of the African Union, I would want to encourage especially our own government to consider not only making sign language a language as we had said earlier today, but also to ensure that every school is taught right from primary French. And Madam Speaker, this is so that it actually enhances integration and Pan-Africanism, because you find that sometimes we are much closer to countries that are far away from us because of the issue of the language barrier. Madam Speaker, I'm happy under Article 4, it provides that at least 2 members of the 5 members that will be sent by countries shall be women. Madam Speaker, I'm happy that the treaty now looks at the constitutive architecture and also mandate. I've spoken to the mandate, but even in terms of a constitutive architecture, the parliament as currently constituted includes members who are members of our own parliaments. Like I was serving as a member of parliament when I was also a member of the Kenyan parliament. But now it will be constituted more like the East African Parliament, where members of parliament will not be members of existing parliament. Madam Speaker, they will be elected direct, even though they will be serving in their, voting in their individual capacities. I want to thank the chair of JILAC, especially for making a connection of the important role of this, and the hopeful election of our party leader, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, to the AU chairmanship, because this is one of the organs of the AU. And we are hoping once he takes on the leadership, then he will revamp. And that is why it is good that this should go ahead of that. Madam Speaker, one of the things that I also like is that it has also provided for rotation of leadership and in the Bureau. This is one of the thorny issues, Madam Speaker, that has bedeviled this Parliament. And I think there was a period for almost 1 year in the current Pan-African Parliament that they couldn't move on because of the issue of rotation, because it was more in terms of a gentleman's agreement that they had agreed that they could move, because based on, there would be rotation in South, like it was supposed to go to Southern Africa, and then there is a problem that now the Central African region wanted it and all that. It actually caused it not to function. Madam Speaker, if you have a situation where you have rotational leadership, then it would actually augur very well. Perhaps that is food for thought for us as a country, that if you want to think about dealing with the issues that bedevil us as a country every 5 years, maybe we could think about dividing the country into bigger regions and thinking about presidency in a rotational manner. Then we wouldn't be having the theatrics that we are seeing even right now because of the issues that some people feel like if we are not here now, we may have to wait another lifetime before we get into the presidency. It's something that we may need to think about seriously as a country. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, I do support.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Marakwet West, Honourable Timothy Toroitich.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for granting me an opportunity to contribute on this very important report. Honourable Speaker, I rise to support this report on the consideration for ratification of the protocol to the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament. Honourable Speaker, in this country we have an extremely progressive constitution. Under Article 2.6 of the Constitution, it provides in very clear terms that any treaty ratified by Parliament or by Kenya shall constitute part of the laws of this country. Honourable Speaker, Pan-African Parliament is a very important parliament in enhancing democracy within the African continent. Honorable Speaker, as a continent, we share a similar history, we share a similar culture. It is only that after the Berlin Conference of 1885 that this continent was divided and taken over by various colonial regimes, and that is where we lost our identity, we lost our culture as an African continent. Honorable Speaker, it is time now that as a country, we ratify this protocol so that we can go back and find our paths where we lost. Honorable Speaker, this parliament is very important because it's like a peer review in terms of our democracy in matters to do with human rights, where countries will have representatives at the highest level in the African continent where they can share certain values that are admired across the African continent. Honorable Speaker, I have seen the report. The only issue I have with this report, Honorable Speaker, is looking critically at the report. It says that pursuant to Article 118(1)(b) of the Constitution on public participation and Section A3 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, the committee placed advertisements in 2 local dailies on 16 November 2023, calling for submissions of memoranda on the subject matter. However, Honorable Speaker, it goes further to say the committee did not receive any memorandum for or against the ratification of the protocol. Honorable Speaker, that is quite unfortunate because something must be wrong. It's either the committee did not give out proper notice for public participation, because it cannot be true that no one in the Republic of Kenya or even managed to give an opinion on this protocol. Honorable Speaker, it is something that can even be quashed by the courts. It's something that we must, the committee and this House needs to take it seriously, because there was no input from the public as per the report of this committee. Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Odhiambo, what's your point of order? Thank you, Speaker. With due respect to the honorable member, I sit in the Committee of Defense, and indeed the Committee of Defense gave a public notice for public participation. But Madam Speaker, sometimes people don't give their views because many people don't know what Pan-African Parliament does. And that's why this Constitutive Act is good, because then it will make it easier for people to even know what Pan-African Parliament does. But the Defense Committee, it is wrong because, again, for the reason that it says that it may be taken to court, and if you have it on record that we are the ones questioning whether we actually did that, and the Committee of Defense did do that. I sit there and I know that.
Okay, you may proceed,
Honorable Speaker, whereas I respect the opinion by the senior counsel, it is on record that no memoranda was submitted to the committee. Give and take, it's okay, but that is an issue of concern. That
Honorable Toroitich, I think you're casting aspersions on the House of Parliament, and you have clearly been informed by a member of this committee that there was the advertisements duly done, but there were no responses. You cannot force members of the public to give memorandum. The most important thing is to show that you gave them an opportunity to be able to give their memorandums. You are also free as a member of Parliament to even give your memorandum yourself. So I think you better withdraw that remark, because you're accusing the committee, yet you have received information from the committee.
Honorable Speaker,
please withdraw that.
I substituted with the words that I have read the report, that despite notice being given on the record, the report on record is clear that no report was received from the public. Honorable Speaker, as I proceed, I have in the report the benefits that Kenya stands to enjoy by ratifying. Honorable Speaker, there are several benefits that will accrue out of ratifying this protocol. Honorable Speaker, one, as a country, we are demonstrating our commitment to democratic values and principles of inclusivity, including citizen participation. Mr. Speaker, as I've said, we have a lot as a country, we have a lot as a continent that we can learn from each other. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is a progressive democracy. If you compare Kenya with other African countries in terms of how we uphold our democracy, I think, Honorable Speaker, it is a country that is admired, and these are values that we can export to other African countries when we ratify this protocol to establish legally the Pan-African Parliament. Honorable Speaker, also in matters, broader objectives, in matters to do with African integration and unity. Honorable Speaker, we have various, for example, the East African community, where we have issues to do with integration. Honorable Speaker, I think this Parliament, when we constitute it fully and we ratify this protocol, as a country, we can be able to advance our economic values and matters to do with African integration in this Parliament. Honorable Speaker, also, the protocol would give Kenyan parliamentarians a voice of influence in shaping continental policies and initiatives. Honorable Speaker, as I've said, we have a progressive constitution which has been subject to interpretation by the courts. We have set precedents in this country through our judiciary. Honorable Speaker, these are values that other countries can learn from us. Honorable Speaker, I support this particular ratification in totality, only that in future, we need more participation in terms of involving Parliament. Honorable Speaker, there needs to be an amendment to this protocol we call the Treaty Making and Ratification Act number 45 of 2012. If you read section 9 of that particular act, it says Parliament may approve a particular protocol with reservations or without reservations. Honorable Speaker, I want to challenge the committee to be able to table this protocol before the House before it is brought for ratification, so that we can be able, as members of Parliament, we can engage and peruse this protocol before it is brought before this House, pursuant to Section 9 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act of 2012. So that, Honorable Speaker, I have no problem if the Senior Counsel wants to inform me.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, I just wish to understand you, but I just wish to inform you that the reason I actually moved the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, and without the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, you would not be debating. So the bill itself actually enables Parliament to debate the treaties. So, and the way treaties are made or negotiated, we can only make reservations. We can't amend. I think I'm saying that because I've had other members saying that before. If you understand from international law, we cannot amend treaties, not in a parliament. You can only make reservations. You can't amend. Thank you.
The Honorable Chairperson for the committee, Honorable Koech.
Honorable Millie Odhiambo has done very well, but I also wanted to say, and that is why we are here, this is not been passed yet. It has given you an opportunity to deliberate on it, and Parliament still has an opportunity to even reject it at this point if they deem unfit to ratify this proposal. So it's still the property of Parliament. Public participation, also, just to inform my colleague, is to allow you as members of Parliament to contribute. And another thing that I raised yesterday, if you remember, Honorable Speaker, is that many members of Parliament, particularly this Parliament, I'm sorry to say that, do not even understand how Pan-African Parliament do operate. And even to those who actually are in Pan-African Parliament, that is why they're not here, they're not even contributing, because many people have never understood how Pan-African Parliament operates.
Thank you, honorable members. I think at this juncture, I would like to recognize the presence of the following schools: Seated in the Speaker's Gallery is Molo Highway Secondary School from Molo constituency, Nakuru County. And then seated in the public gallery is Pamela Scott Leldet Secondary School, Rongai constituency, Nakuru County. We also have Kilo Primary School, Kajiado East constituency, Kajiado County. And I will give the Honorable Member for Molo, Honorable Kimani Kuria, to welcome all the three schools on behalf of the National Assembly.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would really like to extend an invitation to the National Assembly, the great students of Molo Highway Secondary School, Rongai, and the Kajiado West constituency schools to the National Assembly to observe the proceedings of this school. Honorable Speaker, if you'd allow me, Molo Highway Secondary School is one of the fastest growing schools in the constituency. Just 5 years into after doing their first KCSE, we had very excellent results for the last KCSE, having one student get a B+, 5 get a C+, 3 get a B, and 1 get a B-, sending to university and 1 to the seminary, 10 students passing, making it to university. And this is a day school, Honorable Speaker. I went to the school to launch for the Thanksgiving last Friday, and I promised them that you'll come and observe the process of Parliament. Because, Honorable Speaker, I am a product of a day secondary school, a mixed day secondary school. And I see brilliant students like this. I am sure that you have the next biggest leaders in this country, the best engineers, the best doctors, and the best lawyers. And also, Honorable Speaker, this shows the importance of National Government Constitutional Development Fund. When I became a member of Parliament, this school had only one Mabati classroom. And you go to that school now, they have story buildings, they have labs, and that is what has helped them to have as infrastructure almost as good as those that in the schools that NGCDFS, the schools like the one Honorable Millie Odhiambo went to, and therefore getting to post such excellent results. So congratulations, Molo Highway. We look forward to even better results this year, and welcome to Parliament. And if I may, Honorable Speaker, continue with my contribution on the ratification. Go ahead. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the ratification of the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the African Parliament, the PAP, Honorable Speaker. This ratification refers to the formal process in which member states of Pan-African Parliament approve and adopt the legal framework established in the establishment of the Pan-African Parliament. Honorable Speaker, the Pan-African Parliament is one of the organs of the African Union that is aimed at promoting peace, unity, democracy, good governance, human rights, and economic development. The protocol, Honorable Speaker, is properly constituted within the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. The protocol will advance, Honorable Speaker, the participation of African people in matters of governance. It will uphold democratic principles, protect human rights, and promote good governance across the African continent by joining the voice and listening to the voice of the African people and those of the African people in the diaspora. Honorable Speaker, Kenya stands to enjoy a plethora of benefits through the ratification of this protocol, which will include, among the following, Honorable Speaker, the demonstration of Kenya's commitment to democracy and the principle of achieving inclusivity and active citizen participation. Honorable Speaker, this ratification will make Kenya be able to contribute to the broader objectives of African integration, legislation, and forging of unity, Honorable Speaker. The protocol, Honorable Speaker, will also give Kenyan Parliament a voice and an influence in shaping the continental policies and initiatives. And number 4, Honorable Speaker, this active participation on the Pan-African Parliament would raise the Kenyan voice profile in the AU and also in the continental stage, Honorable Speaker. On this, it's a great privilege that you have one gentleman in the name of Honorable Raila Odinga, whom Kenya has funded to be the chairperson of African Union. And you're hoping that this will be a successful bid for Kenya, that Kenya will be a proud holder of the chairmanship of this particular individual, Honorable Speaker. And this would in a way show gratitude to the many years of fighting for multi-party democracy, for fighting for what we call ugatuzi. Honorable Speaker, when we were young people, we used to hear Raila Amolo Odinga talk about ugatuzi and Majimbo. And we actually thought that ugatuzi was a very bad thing. We thought devolution was a very bad thing, that it will divide this country. But many years later, Honorable Speaker, after the enactment of the 2010 Constitution and the establishment of the 47 counties, we have seen development going towards the people. We have seen the people being involved in the way their government is being run. Honorable Speaker, I've had a privilege of traveling across this country. And it is sad when you go to some constituencies that have never seen any inch of a tarmac road. You go to a constituency that has less than 10% of power connectivity in that particular constituency, Speaker. And the hope is that this devolution that we fought for would cure these challenges, Honorable Speaker. And I'm hoping that our governors across the 47 counties, and it's great to see many governors who are working extremely hard and bringing a change in the counties, of Honorable Speaker, would use this devolution to bring not just development to the people, but also bring the participation of the voice of the people in their governance, Honorable Speaker, to the lowest units of devolution, Honorable Speaker. You know, there is one a great Pan-Africanist who said that the habit of democracy must be learned by practice. The people must learn by experience how to govern themselves. That was one voice, a great Pan-African and socialist, and a sociologist, Honorable Speaker. So I'm really hoping that this practice of the power of the people to govern themselves, both at the national forum and in the county forum, will bring out the best experience and give us the best leadership, and will also enable the electorate and the voters at the 5-year election cycle to evaluate their leaders from their words, from their development, and give us the best so that we can run this country and we can run this continent, and so that we can continue to become one continent called Africa, one people called Africa, and hopefully in future even have one nation called Africa. Some of the challenges, Honorable Speaker, that we face, for example, fluctuations in our currencies, is because we all have our small currencies. If you are in Busia, for you to cross over to Uganda, you can hardly use Kenya shillings to purchase something in Uganda. If you need to cross just next to the other border of Tanzania, you have to change your currency again to Tanzania shillings. Now, worst of all, especially when you're dealing with huge transactions, you have to change it to US dollars first, then convert it again to the local currency, Honorable Speaker. Our common market, you know, with such a huge population of Africa, we have such a huge market for products, but even despite us passing different protocols to allow free trade movement across Africa, we still face bureaucracies and many barriers to trade, Honorable Speaker. Until recently, even traveling to one of our African countries, South Africa, you needed to have a visa. But you're hoping that now this collaboration in both free movement of goods and free movement of people across the continent, hopefully the establishment of an African bank and the establishment of an African continent will make us to live even closer together as one people, the African people. Without a begs to support this certification, Honorable Speaker, and congratulate the Committee on Defense for doing such a brilliant job in this report, Honorable Speaker. And perhaps lastly, to comment on what my honorable friend from Marakwet said on public participation. Every piece of legislation that comes to this House has to go through public participation. But majority of times, despite publishing in local diaries, Honorable Speaker, in the website, even parties that are directly involved or will be directly affected in these decisions do not even send a memorandum to Parliament. And maybe perhaps it's the time we revisited the public participation bill, I think that was introduced at the Senate, and give a criteria, because sometimes the language in which this legal framework in this legal language is put is not palatable for ordinary Kenyan. And maybe it's perhaps a high time we came up with a matrix of how to engage the public in these matters of public participation, so that this big concept, like the ratification of the constitutive act of the Pan-African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament, can be in a language that would be more palatable to an ordinary Kenyan and make him be able to participate on its debate and legislation. With that, I beg to support, Honorable Speaker.
Well said. I think you came prepared for the debate. The Honorable Member for Central Imenti. It's in the House. He spoke already. So the Honorable Member for Tharaka also spoke. The Honorable Member for Wajir North, the Honorable Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The process of ratification of treaties, protocols, or any bilateral agreement is so clear in our Constitution. And I think what we are debating is really what we are supposed to do. Kenya as a country has participated in the making of this protocol, and there is all the purpose, intent, and the good is so expected out of it. More so when it is a Pan-African protocol, it goes without saying it is ours, and we are in the middle of it. Mr. Speaker, I don't know, there's some noise disturbing. Somebody must have dropped his phone, and I can't contribute. Mr. Speaker, treaties, protocols, and bilateral agreements ordinarily set courtesy rules for parties to engage. They put mechanisms for international pledge, agreement, and ways of working together in a certain orderly manner. Treaties give common commitments where people agree together so that there are no conflicts. It is a matter of commonalities, not disagreements. It gives opportunity to network among agreeing member states. Treaties showcase unity, Mr. Speaker. Unity of purpose, unity to troubleshoot just in case there are issues arising, and the unity to amalgamate in a very cohesive manner on purpose of social issues, economic issues, and political issues, and the Pan-African Parliament being brought on board will surely serve those three pillars which are key to this continent. Mr. Speaker, the protocol is a diplomatic tool. It's a diplomatic tool for engaging between African states. It is an interactive tool for reaction and relation.